we doing, guys? Welcome to this week's Friday Waffle. I honestly can't believe it is Friday already. You know what, since I've started, I'm going to slouch a wee bit because I'm conscious it's kind of pointing quite far down. I can't believe that it's Friday already. Yeah, this week has just absolutely flown in. I was saying that to my wife tonight. I says, really, you know what, this job that I'm doing is just, it's pandemonium, but it's pandemonium in a good way. I mean, the job, there's so much going on. You get involved in so many things. I mean, you're out and about. I was out in site today through in Clydebank doing different things. I had a training course yesterday. So yeah, I'm actually quite enjoying it. It is hell for leather, it really is. I'm pretty knackered, and I must admit the only downside to this job thing is my running. It's kind of been suffering a wee bit now. I've got multiple ultras coming up over the next 3-4 months, so I really need to get my arse back into gear and get out running as often as I can, because yeah, that's going to suffer. Anyway guys, on a gaming related note, what have I been doing? I haven't been playing any consoles of any kind. Well, that's not entirely true. I've not been playing my 360, I've not been playing the PS4, I've not even been playing my Mamemeister. Now wait a minute, there's something that I've completely forgot to need to mention. I was through at the Museum of Scotland in Chambers Street in Edinburgh. There's a sort of a video gaming type exhibition that's on just now. Apparently it's been doing the rounds. I think it's been doing the rounds in the world actually, and it arrived in Edinburgh in December, and it's there till about the middle of April, I think it is. Now it's £10 to get in, £1 of which is a donation to the museum itself that's hosting it. It's actually very, very good. What have they got? They've got arcade machine wise, they've got all the sort of classics. I mean, there's maybe about a dozen arcade games. Now off the top of my head, they've got Asteroids, Centipede, Donkey Kong, Missile Command, Robotron 2084. There's a few, is it Tower of Druga or something? I think it's a Namco game. They've got that. There's about, maybe they've got Elevator Action. They've got maybe another 6 or 7 ones that I'm not quite so familiar with. But yeah, cracking games, and they're all in free play, obviously. What was quite interesting is I was playing Robotron 2084. Now, as much as I love my Mamemeister, fantastic bit of kit, you still can't beat original arcade games. I mean, the controls for Robotron, I don't know what they use. There must be some kind of damper system in it so that, you know, it's not clicking about like my Mamemeister does. When you're moving it about, you can feel there's like a sort of resistance. Obviously these things are designed specifically for that particular game, but yeah, they've got these arcade games. They've got it's kind of like they're talking about, like, you know, sort of famous software houses, how they evolved, what kind of ideas do they put into their games. I mean, there's a big thing all about what do you call them? They made Lemmings, and they also made Grand Theft Auto. What the hell, DMA Design, whatever it is, up in Dundee. There's a big sort of wall dedicated to them. They've got a lot of you know, what do you call it, Sega games. There's in fact, I mean, I completely forgot to tell you, they've also got Outrun, sit down cab. They've got Hang On, again, the one you actually sit on kind of thing. So yeah, they've got a ton of arcade games. They've also got PCs running different sort of PC DOS games and that kind of stuff. And what was quite funny, my mate, we were quite happily taking photographs, as you do, and this woman came running up to me in a state of panic, telling me I could not take photographs, and I should know because I was told, and B, there's a sign telling me not to take photographs. And I politely reminded her that I hadn't been told there was any abandoned photographs being taken, and also could you point out where the sign was. And apparently it's a tiny little sign outside with a little camera with a line through it, so I was supposed to have noticed that. But yeah, it's definitely worth going to see. It's, you could spend, I mean, I could have spent, you know, we were probably in it maybe 2 hours, two and a half hours, whatever. You could spend, I could spend all day in it just playing bloody Robotron, if the truth be told. But yeah, what I was going to say to you is, by the time the end of the day came, I mean, it'd been open for what, 8 hours. I had all 10 highest scores. I mean, down below on Robotron, you've got the all-time classics, all-time high scores, which I didn't even get onto. But yeah, I had the top 10 highest scores, which was quite funny. That probably says more about how pish other people are at the game as opposed to how good I am. I think my best, I mean, every game I played, I was getting about 125,000 points. I'm sure if I got a bit of roll going, I mean, I think my best is about just under 200,000. So yeah, if you live anywhere near Scotland, you know, it's worth it. You can go there and spend the whole day. You get your hand stamped, so you can basically go in, go out. You can go in and out as many times as you want. If you do go, don't go to the cafe. It's a bloody rip-off. Go outside. There's numerous places to eat. So yeah, that is the game's thing. Right, I'm going to pause this, guys, just so it doesn't cut out. Yeah, so what else was I going to talk about? So I've not been playing any home systems as such. I've been a 64 gig card arrived for my Nvidia Shield, which is over there, and I've been spending quite a bit more time getting that up and running. I really need to start playing it. Excuse me. So yeah, right. Anyway, guys. Firstly, thank you very, very much to some of the guys for giving me some questions. Now, before I start on these ones, there was something that cropped up when I can't remember what it was or what the reason was. I think I was doing my Arcade Perfect, my arse, and it got me thinking, when you play emulators, as you know, any modern PC now, you could probably play a Spectrum or a Commodore 64 game, and you can probably ramp it up to 2000 speed. You know, you could ramp it up to probably like 200 times quicker than it would normally run. Now, as we know, old systems, especially like, things like the Commodore 64, when it was running games like vector graphic games, it ran extremely slow. And back in the day, what you would have given to be able just to throttle it up slightly, increase the speed of it, that would have been absolutely fantastic to be able to do. Unfortunately, we couldn't do that. That was just the hardware. It was what it was. Games ran at the speed they ran at. So yeah, nowadays running emulators, not even in PCs. I mean, emulators and anything on that handheld thing there, or my Mamemeister, whatever, you can increase the speed of it. Do you ever increase the speed of a game, an emulated game, to make it run better? Now, interestingly, despite having the capability to do it and probably make the game better, it would make the game better in the long run, I've never actually done it. I mean, I've done it to try something, think, alright, okay, but I would never ever play a game at anything more than 100% speed. Some games play a lot better. I mean, things like Stunt Car Racer on the Commodore Amiga, especially on an expanded Amiga, it runs alright. You stick the speed up to, I don't know, 125%, and it makes all the difference. It really does. It becomes like a true arcade game to start a bit quicker. But funnily enough, because the game wasn't written to run like that, I want to play it as it should be. And if that means it's running a bit jerkily or a bit slow, then so be it. So yeah, I don't know why I don't change it. Maybe it's just because I'm a bit of an old fuddy-duddy. I like things to be the way they were written. So if a game on the C64, if Elite was quite slow, then that's the way I'm going to play it. Even though dinking it up to 150%, whatever, would really probably make the game a better game, I just wouldn't do it. Is that something you guys do? Do you ever play emulated games but you just tweak the speed slightly? There's absolutely no reason for not doing it, and in many cases it would probably make the game a far better game. But nah, it's just something, it's not something I would actually do. And again, it's just because I'm a bit of an authentic old tosser. I like to play things the way they were intended. Whether it's slow and blocky, then so be it. So anyway, guys, yep, that is that is the only topic that I've been able to think of. You can probably see here I've got my shirt and tie on. I've still got my shirt on. I can't be arsed getting changed. I thought I'll make the waffle, then I'll go and get changed. So yeah, right, first question. Thank you very much to Binary Zoo, that's Chris, thank you very much, Squire. Chris is asking, I've got to say guys, what I do is when I see comments or questions on my videos, I don't think about them, I just copy and paste them onto a Word document and I print them off like so. So I don't actually read them as such, so I'm reading these questions fresh, hence the reason I sometimes have to pause to think about what the answer is going to be. So yeah, Chris is asking, what's your favourite obscure retro or arcade game that nobody else has heard of? Ooh. Favourite game that nobody's heard of? I mean, I'm not going to obviously have a game that nobody's ever heard of. You know, people are going to have heard of them. Games that are less popular, arcade wise, I love Terra Cresta. Now I know Terra Cresta is a pretty well known game, but a lot of people, it's not as well known as Galaxian or 1942. I love Terra Cresta to bits. I don't know what it is about it. I like the the landscape changes all the time. You've got some really cool monsters. You get these big kind of dinosaurs that turn into skeletons when you shoot them. I like the fact that that you're constantly getting. I've been biting my nails and I'm bloody bitten right into the edge of it and it's horrible. Ouch. Yeah, Terra Cresta, you get all the power-ups, which I like. So that's probably a big reason, because it makes it quite easy. And hence the reason I'm quite good at it. But basically in Terra Cresta, you die. If you pick up a power-up, you get hit, you just lose that power-up, so you're still alive kind of thing. So as long as you keep picking up power-ups, then technically you could keep playing and the game would never finish. So I love Terra Cresta, but that's not a really, it's a lesser known game, but it's not exactly what you'd call obscure. You know what, I used to do on the Way the Rodent website, I used to run a challenge called the Rodent Challenge, and basically I used to pick a game on a Sunday and people would play it. I would set the parameters, the dip switches and that kind of stuff, how many lives, what difficulty level, and yeah, people would play it for a week and I would allocate points depending on the sort of high score, and there's quite a few, there's quite a few that I picked. Now you know what, for the life of me I can't remember what the names were called, but there was a couple that I picked completely randomly. I just basically looked at a screenshot and thought that looks alright, that'll do, and the feedback was, oh, these are awesome games, you've really picked a great game here. So there are a lot of real classic games in MAME that you've probably never ever heard of. I know I've uncovered a couple of them, but I can't remember for the life of me what they're called. So that's not really answering this question. One game I really enjoy, but it's bloody hard. I don't remember it being as hard as when I used to play it back in 1986, and that is Tiger Heli. Tiger Heli is a vertical shoot 'em up. You control a tiger. You control a helicopter, and you do pick up little bonus helicopters. You get the main sprite, and then you get wee tiny wee ones that kind of support you, so you increase your firepower. The thing that makes that difficult is the fact that your firing is limited. Your bullets only travel so far up the screen, so you can't sit at the bottom of the screen and just blast things. And then you also get baddies that come out from behind you and they kind of just target you. So yeah, Tiger Heli, I love that game. Trying to think anything else. What's the game? There's a game I played at Blackpool, I think it was, the retro event in Blackpool, and it was what do you call it? Is it Black Widow, I think it is. It's a vector game, but it plays like Robotron, twin stick shooter. That's really good. I can't say it's a favourite game of mine, I've played it a few times, but yeah, there's a shitload of games in MAME that you've probably never heard of, probably never released in the UK. And there's some cracking games, you know, we just have to start playing them, but I can't for the life of me remember what the other one was called, so I do apologise. So yeah, that's that one. What classic arcade game would you like to see a remake of, and how would you change it? Classic arcade game. The problem is it's almost a contradiction in terms. A classic arcade game to me is a game that is almost perfect, and it's like the old Star Wars syndrome. You start messing about with a classic and it just people are not going to like it, and that's the danger. I mean, I could say Robotron. Robotron's, you know, my favourite arcade game bar none. Would I want a 3D version of that? I mean, actually I was playing Robotron on the N64, and there's a kind of pseudo 3D. You can change the sort of you know, your viewpoint, and it's just not as good as the original. I'm trying to think. What I would like would be, it'd be interesting to see, it might be an absolute pants, would be, now there may have already been something similar. Could you imagine a first person version of Gauntlet? But I'm talking about, you know, don't improve sound effects, keep the original characters, keep the sound effects. When you eat food you want the wee kind of goblin sound and that kind of stuff. I want the same speech. How in that, can you imagine walking into a room and just, like, you know, 200 ghosts appear at you and you've got to try and blast them, and then you kill the generators? Yeah, a sort of 3D, a first person Gauntlet would be quite good. It might not be feasible, I don't know. I'm trying to think, I just can't. No, I mean, even like, I would say, like, you know, Commando, but there's plenty of games that have come out that are similar to Commando but with improved graphics, and again it all comes back to it's not as good as the original. So there's not many games, if at all any, that classic video games that I would really want to see remakes of. You know, like I said, the Gauntlet thing might be pish, I don't know, it might be good, but yeah, that's that one. What arcade game considered a classic do you hate? Hate, that's a strong word, Chris. Yeah, I don't hate it, but I don't like it. Rainbow Islands, there you go, flame away. Rainbow Islands is pish. I just, you know what, I don't know why, but I just can't get on with it at all. I don't like the game, I don't like the controls. To me it feels very, make rainbows, run up them, jump, get to the top. I'm sure there's a lot more to the game than I'm actually aware of. I don't like, the graphics are uber cute. I would rather it was zombies or whatever than little shady caterpillars with fluffy faces and whatever. Yeah, and now Bubble Bobble to a lesser extent, I'm not a big fan of Bubble Bobble. Again, it's one of these games that people say it's one of the greatest arcade games ever written. So yeah, I would say Bubble Bobble and Rainbow Islands especially. I don't like Rainbow Islands at all. Is it because they're both cute? I'm not quite sure. Possibly. Anything else? Any other games? I mean, there's games that people rave about that I've never really played. I've tried it on my main cab and I'm like, aye, whatever. Is it iRobot, I think it is? Not iRobot. Oh, what's it called? Tron. Yeah, people going about how wonderful Tron is. I've tried it a couple of times and to me it just looks a pile of crap. It looks rubbish. Yeah, again, a game that I don't dislike, in fact a far from, I don't even not like, but Street Fighter 2, I would love to be good at it, I would love to be able to play it properly, but I just can't get on with it. And so it's a game that it's absolutely revered by everybody, you know, it's revered across the world, it's a classic arcade game, but I just can't play it for toffee. If I play these games I just basically mash the buttons, which is completely pointless. Yeah, so Street Fighter 2. I think that's it. I can't think of any other game. There's probably others that people go on about, and I just don't really enjoy at all. Yeah, right, I'm going to pause this, guys, so I'm just going to cut out again. Right, okay, that's the battery change, so it's not going to run out of batteries. Okay, right, that was great. Thank you very much for them, Chris. I do appreciate these questions. I hope they were satisfactory answers. Please leave me more for next week. Right, and the ever reliable Jamie, thank you very much, Squire, has asked me a few questions, and again, I've not read them. I'm going to read them out and do my best to answer them. Right, Jamie's asking here, number 1, your MAME cab is truly awesome. Thank you very much. No, you're not getting it. But if you had the space and money, what genuine arcade cab or cabs would you absolutely love to own? And Jamie goes on to list, top of the list being the deluxe hydraulic version of Outrun. Right, that's quite an easy one for me. If I had the space and money was no object, Robotron 2084. Ghost and Goblins, yep. Commando, 1942, Terra Cresta, Galaxian, Rolling Thunder, probably Star Wars. It's not a game I've played an awful lot, but it looks amazing. You know, I never really got the chance to play it properly in the proper full-on sit-down cab version. Yeah, Star Wars, probably an Outrun game as well, but you're saying the full hydraulic version of Outrun, that would be pretty cool. Anything else? No, I think that's it. I would settle for them. Or Centipede as well, yep, if you can give me Centipede, I'll take that as well. Yeah. Okay. Number 2, Jamie's asking, back in the day, Games Mags ruled. Zap 64, CNVG and latterly Amiga Power were gaming bibles to me. I remember feeling genuinely excited watching for each issue. What were your favourites and why? Right, well you've already named them actually. My favourite magazine without a doubt was Zap 64. This is, people have probably documented over the years. Zap came out at the right time. It came out just as computers were really starting to take off. I mean, Zap was obviously, it came out, I mean you had Crash magazine, which was for the ZX Spectrum, then Zap came out, I don't know how long after, a year maybe, I'm not quite sure. But yeah, Zap was basically written by gamers, for gamers. So these guys, they absolutely loved video games and they were shit hot at them as well. They were really good at playing the games, and the comments, they didn't pull their punches. They were quite happy to, if a game was crap they would tell you it was crap. If a game was brilliant they would tell you it was brilliant. And to me that did become my bible. If Zap told me that Winter Games in the Commodore 64 was 94% and you must get it, then I would go out and buy it no matter what. Unless it was some kind of adventure game which I had no interest in. Whatever games got the gold medal, I would go out and buy it. It was written in a non-serious way as well. It was kind of written more like a sort of fanzine. You could imagine some kind of school fanzine type thing, I mean, it didn't take itself too seriously. It was, you could tell, and if you've watched any of these over the years they've been documenting, excuse me, how these mags are put together. You can tell that these guys were basically just getting paid to do what they loved and to have a laugh. And what's bloody mental now is, I mean, I loved Zap magazine. The 3 original guys, I mean, they became, I suppose, to use this word which I can't stand in today's society, this celebrity tag that is given to anybody who happens to become famous for whatever reason. But yeah, you could say that I wouldn't call them celebrities, but they became famous within the sort of the video game industry. You used to go down to like Earl's Court computer show, the PCW show, was it Personal Computer Show I think it was, and these guys would be there, and you didn't want their autograph as such, but you kind of felt they were famous because you saw them in magazines. There was no such thing as the internet back then. But yeah, what freaks me out now is back in Zap 64 days, you had Julian Rignall, you had Gary Penn, and you had Gary Liddon. Excuse me. Now Gary Liddon's a good friend of mine's now. I talk to Gary's. We're on Facebook. We talk about stuff. Gary goes to our retro computer magazine. Gary comes along to our retro computer club sometimes. He's a good guy. So yeah, it's absolutely bizarre to think that I'm now mates with a guy who I used to take his, whatever he said about a game, that's what used to govern what game I bought next. So yeah, that was mental. So yeah, that was Zap 64. I did buy computer and video games, but because it was made for all different machines, you invariably maybe got half a dozen reviews on the Commodore 64, whatever it was. It was a good magazine, but it was a magazine that I would buy if I was bored. I've already bought Zap, and then I'd go to John Menzies a couple of weeks later. It's like, what can I buy? Well, there's no new Zap magazine out, so I'll buy computer and video games. It filled a gap in between Zap magazine. When I went to 16-bit, Commodore Amiga, yeah, there was Amiga Format, which was dull as dishwater. It was very much matter of fact. I mean, they used to obviously include like utilities and word processing stuff, as well as games. It was quite dull to read. It really was. I used to buy it because you used to get free discs with maybe games or whatever it was, Paint Shop Pro or something. Not Paint Shop Pro for the Amiga, but yeah. And then latterly it became CDs, so you used to get loads of demos. So I used to buy Amiga Format for the games basically. But yeah, Amiga Power came along, and that was kind of similar to Zap. It was written by gaming enthusiasts. Now I'm not being biased, but the one guy, now you've probably heard of this guy, love him or hate him, Stuart Campbell. Now Stuart actually was born and bred and went to school about 10 minutes from where I live. He was actually in one of my mates' classes at school. Stuart used to go to the same arcade that I used to go to when I was through in Bathgate at college. I used to go to this arcade. Now Stuart, he started, I don't know what his history was, but I think he was it Sinclair User or something, I'm not exactly sure. Then he became a writer for Amiga Power. Now Stuart, I says, love him or hate him, he absolutely tells you exactly what he thinks of something. If he thinks something's crap, he'll absolutely hammer it into the ground. He'll tell you it's the biggest load of crap ever. Conversely, if he liked a game, he would go to town with it. And again, I could guarantee that whatever Stuart liked was pretty much spot on. You could guarantee that, if Stuart rated a game, you could guarantee that if you bought it, you would enjoy it. You wouldn't say this is crap. He really, he used to speak his mind. I mean, even nowadays, if you Google Stuart, he's very, very outspoken. A lot of people don't like the guy because he just speaks his mind. I do like him. He's a fellow Scot. I can kind of see where he's coming from. I'm a bit like that. Maybe it's just the Scottish mentality, but we tend to say exactly what we think. But yeah, Stuart, in my mind, is probably the best video game journalist. I mean, I have a few mates that have written for video games, so I'm not being biased, because I mean Stuart's not a friend of mine at all. I don't know the guy. But yeah, Stuart is a fantastic video game journalist. He really is. As I say, he's like him or love him, but you can't but help listen to what he has to say. And he gets himself into a lot of scrapes online through arguments about, he'll just speak his mind. So yeah, other magazines of notable mentions would be the Games Machine. That was a short-lived 16-bit kind of multiple. It wasn't just 16-bit. I think it also did. I think it was mainly 16-bit. I think they also did 8-bit. That was Gary Penn, formerly of Zap 64, started that one. There was also Ace magazine, which was quite good. Again, it didn't go for very long. They only went for maybe about a dozen magazines, and then they stopped. I mean, the market back then was just saturated with different magazines. There was other ones, Maximum. I don't know if you remember that one. It was a Primar. Well, in fact, it was a next gen magazine, and it was mainly like Saturn and PlayStation games they featured. But it was an absolutely gorgeous looking magazine, full colour, really nice, well written. Then you also had Superplay, which was it was a SNES magazine. My mate Andy Lowe, he used to work in it. He was one of the writers for it. It used to feature a lot of manga sort of artwork, but again, it was written by gamers, and you could really tell the enthusiasm. The only one downside to it, I suppose, was a lot of the games that they used to review were import, and you just couldn't physically buy these games, or if you did, you'd have to have a big bloody fat wallet because they cost a lot of money. But that was another awesome magazine. So yeah, that's that one. I'm going to pause this again, guys, back in 2 ticks. Right, okay, moving on swiftly. Jamie, what's he asking now? Okay, what magazines did you dislike? Whose opinions and review scores you didn't trust? Magazines I didn't like. Amiga Format. I used to buy it for the games. Yeah, and the one magazine that I find a chore to read. I mean, I've not bought apart from Retro Gamer magazine, which I buy, which I subscribe to, but I'll go into that in a minute. I've not bought an actual proper magazine for many years. Edge magazine. It's more like they're so far up their own backside with their opinions about games. You know, I always think that video games are, you can shoot me down for this, video games are quite a simplistic, I don't mean that, I'll take that, I'll retract that, they're not simplistic. Video games are written to be fun. That is it. It's like films. A film is to entertain you for an hour and a half. Quite why all these actors and actresses, whatever it is, are so highly thought of is beyond me, because it's just a film, it's just to entertain you, and that's it, it's not real life. It's the same with video games, they're not, they're to entertain you sort of thing. Where was I going with this? Sorry, I've completely broke my train of thought. Yeah, Edge magazine. They just seem to think, they would talk in such a high level, highbrow language that you're actually thinking, what the fucking hell are they talking about? I mean, there's a book, I can't remember what the name of the book's called, and it's, is it Trigger Happy or something it's called? And it's a really famous video games book. And it's, people say, oh, it's a great book, and I try to read it. Now, I'm a fairly intelligent person, I'd like to think. I don't read that much, but I am fairly intelligent. And I tried to read it, and I got about a quarter of the way into it, and I thought, this is bloody boring. It's, video games are to be fun, about, exude the passion and the nostalgia for games. And I read this book and I thought, this is boring. I actually gave up. I thought, I can't be arsed reading any more of this. And that's exactly what I think of the Edge magazine. It used to dedicate like 5 or 6 pages to one game, and I don't know, it used to get to the point I could actually read the Edge magazine in probably 10 minutes, because I would just constantly, I'd read the letters and I'd just constantly flick over the pages. I thought, bollocks to that. So yeah, I didn't like Edge magazine, and I must admit, I've not bought a magazine, a full proper magazine, for quite a long time, probably maybe 2-3 years. And if I have looked at any, I find magazines for current consoles now just boring. I don't know what it is. I really don't know what it is. Is it possibly the nostalgia side of things? I don't know. But I just can't be arsed reading modern magazines. Maybe because we've got stuff online now, they're almost like a dormant or a defunct kind of media. I don't know. But yeah, Edge magazine, didn't like it. It was just so far up its own backside it wasn't true. And okay, do you have scans of old magazines for reference and nostalgia? Absolutely I do. I have got, I don't know how many gigs worth of magazines. There used to be an utterly fantastic torrent site called Underground Gamer, and it just had about the best collection of ROMs for old systems, magazine scans. I mean, I've got them all. I've got full sets of computer and video games, Zap, Crash, Spectrum User, Amiga Power, Ace Magazine, Games Machine, Maximum. It's got the Edge as well, which I don't actually have because I don't like it because it's pish. All these obscure, the Home Computer Course, that was a very, very early magazine that came out when sort of computers first came out. I love scanned magazines now. The funny thing was, when I bought my very first iPad, one of the biggest things I was going to use it for was to read magazines, because reading a magazine on a computer, sitting at a computer desk, just isn't the same. I do all my reading in the bath. I take a magazine in the bath, love it. But yeah, I bought my iPad primarily to play, to be able to read magazines, and I've got to say, I just don't do it. I think it's a bit of palaver having to hold an iPad. I mean, you know, you can't beat holding a magazine or a book, a proper printed copy. Holding an iPad or a tablet just doesn't work for me. So yeah, to answer your question, Jamie, absolutely. I love having all these magazines for reference. I mean, I've got, I don't know, I've just got some really obscure stuff. I must have, I don't know, 50, 60 gigs worth of PDFs. If anybody's looking for any in particular, give me a shout and I'll see if I can help you out. So yeah, absolutely love PDF magazines, but do I read them? Probably not. I like to now and again dip in and maybe look for an article. What I used to actually like doing, and this is quite sad, I would dig out a computer and video games magazine and I would read a review of a game, some really obscure thing, and I would load the game up and play it. So I would read a review, then play it, and I would just see what I thought of it myself. So yeah, that's quite nerdy, but yeah, absolutely love PDF magazines, but I don't read them as much as I should. And okay, Jamie goes on to say here, as a follow-up question, the printed mag market is dying on its arse due to the intraweb giving people access to free content. Do you miss the way things were and feel that something wonderful has been lost, or are you fine with things as they are now? Yeah, totally agree with you, Jamie. Magazines are really a dormant format. You know, within minutes of a game, not even after a game's released, before a game's released, you'll virtually guarantee you can watch a YouTube video of it. So magazines have been pretty much killed, stone dead. Do I miss them? Oh hell yeah, I do. I used to love getting the Commodore 64, getting the Zap 64. I couldn't wait to get it because that was our window to what new games were out. So I do miss the buzz of getting the latest magazine and, you know, lying in your bed at night, whatever it was, looking through and thinking, I'm going to get that, I'm going to get that, I'm going to get that. Yeah, there wouldn't be a lot of point in releasing it now because of the internet. I mean, the internet has basically killed magazines, not just video game magazines, it's killed a lot of things stone dead, probably. Film magazines and that kind of thing, there's just almost no point to them. The only magazine I do get, and it's still relevant, is Retro Gamer. Because Retro Gamer is only looking at old, it's looking at the history, then you can get away with that. You know, you can get away with looking at an old magazine because it's recording old stuff in the past, whereas you know, a PS4 magazine, it's going to maybe give you a review of a game that you could possibly have watched a review on 2 months before. So yeah, I do miss. I don't think they should come back. I would never for one second say do away with internet and bring back magazines. I wouldn't want that to happen. But I certainly do miss the buzz of getting an actual magazine in your hand, you know, and going for a bath and reading it, or lying in your bed, or lying on the couch and reading it. it was really exciting. You know, it was all part of the whole this industry of ours. It was really exciting. Like I says, computer retro gamers only magazine I now get, but I've got to say I'm getting a bit kind of peed off with it. I don't know. It is a good magazine, and you know I'm not knocking the guys that make it, because if it wasn't for Retro Gamer we wouldn't have any old magazine. I think it's just getting to the point now. It's starting to get a bit tired. You know, some of the features that they've got. You know, it used to take me, I don't know, it used to take me like a week, maybe 5 consecutive nights to read a Retro Gamer magazine. Now I can get through it in about half an hour, because I find I tend to skip a lot more now. So yeah, even that is starting to become a bit sort of tedious. So yeah, that is that. I think that's yep, that is the last of the questions. So thank you very much, Chris and Jamie. Anything else? I'm going to pause it, give myself a minute to think about something and come back to you. Right, okay guys, I think I've probably prattled on long enough. Yeah, okay, that is us for another week. Thank you very much for watching, as usual. Coming up, where am I now? I'm up to, that was the year that was, I've done 1988. So I reckon we've probably got another, maybe, was there any games coming out in 1995? I don't know. Certainly none that I already played. So I'm guessing I've got maybe another 3, 4, maybe possibly 5 weeks left for that was the year that was. Then we've kind of ran out of games. Like I said, there are other things that I've gotten I'd like to do. I'm just conscious that with the work side of things, it's taken away a lot of the time that I've got to make videos, and I've just not got the time to really think about it. But there's definitely, you know, once that was the year that was finishes, I'm going to be introducing a new feature, which I'm not going to tell you about at the moment, but don't get too excited because it's probably going to be crap. Yeah, Arcade Perfect my arse. I've been doing that now for, I don't know, maybe 6 months. It seems to still be quite a popular feature. And as long as, I mean, I do enjoy making them. It's a bit of a pain in the arse now because I'm working during the day. I can't use the PC to record them like I used to. So it's taking me a bit longer to make them, and I'm not able to feature as many versions. I mean, for example, what was the one I done the other day, the Xavius? There was also a version on the PC which I've got on my PC oddly, but because I couldn't record the PC I wasn't able to include it. So yeah, I'll keep, as long as people are still wanting to watch Arcade Perfects, then I'm going to keep, I'll still make them. When I see that views start dipping below a certain amount, then I'll probably think to myself, right, I'll put it out to grass, because I think to keep people watching your channel you've got to try and keep it, you've got to mix and match it, you know what I mean? You don't want to just continually do the same thing over and over again, which I'm doing at the moment, and I'm a bit conscious of that. Yeah, so I will be trying to come up with other things. So like I said, I think we've maybe got about another 4 or 5 weeks of that was the year that was. I'll still keep making Arcade Perfects as long as people want to watch them. I have got a few other ideas up my sleeve. Again guys, I keep saying it, I really do appreciate any questions or topics you want me to talk about, because I'll be honest, if it wasn't for you guys giving me these questions tonight, I would have nothing to talk about. Yeah, I mean, I'm completely forgetting at the Friday Waffle. I do enjoy the Friday Waffle, but when I don't have anything to talk about, then it becomes difficult. But having these questions for you guys is excellent. It really is. It's interesting. It's like being interviewed kind of thing. It's, you don't know what's coming up next. It gives me plenty of stuff to talk about, and I hope you guys can find it quite entertaining. So yeah, please keep the questions coming. Anything at all you want to hear about, my thoughts, opinions, anything at all, let me have them. I noticed my subscribers have gone up a wee bit. I think I'm just under, is it 259, so that's not bad. It's thank you to all my new subscribers. Big thanks to all my existing subscribers. You know who you are. I was talking to one of the guys on Facebook actually the other day there, Chris, and you know, he was making a comment about how I always make a point of commenting on comments. Well, it's only good manners, you know. If you guys are taking up time to A, watch my videos, and B, to ask questions, whatever, then it's only flipping good manners and politeness to reply to you. But I don't do it just because of that. I do it because I want to, because you know, although I'm the sort of face of this channel, I look upon this as it belongs to all of us. You know, it's a medium for us to talk about this passion that we've got, which is video games. So I look upon this channel as being belonging to everybody. I know it sounds a bit cliched and all that bullshit, but I do mean that, guys. You know, there's a good bunch of us that comment regular. There's you know, there's always a lot of comments. I mean, you get discussions going on, and I like to see how some of you guys comment on other people's comments, and that's what it's all about. It's about having a wee community that we can talk about this fantastic passion of ours, which is old video games. So anyway, guys, I have prattled on long enough. Yeah, I hope you have a great weekend. I'm not going to do the old cliche thing about I hope you had a great weekend, because it sounds ridiculous. I hope you do have a good weekend, guys. Please feel free to like, comment and subscribe. You can also follow me on Twitter under Mamemeister. And very lastly, thank you very much for watching.